What's up, you guys? It's good to see you all again. Today I'm going to be breaking down the Mistweaver in 8.2. Should you play the Mistweaver in 8.2 for PvP? I'm getting this question a lot. I will put out some videos probably regarding some of the other healers, and it'll break down. You know, I've done tons of videos like this, okay? So this is going to be nothing new to some of you guys out there, but hopefully it's helpful for the people that just stumble across my channel. So I'm going to be breaking down the class into reasons that you should play the class and reasons that you shouldn't play the class. There are some reasons and some valid reasons why I think maybe it would be worth it for you guys to pick up this class. So with that being said, let's get into it. Reasons to play this class. Reason number one, this class is, in my opinion, one of the easiest healers to pick up, okay? It does seem a little goofy at first, but the reason I'm saying this is there's not too many things in terms of your cooldown usage that you can really mess up, if that makes any sense, right? A lot of your defensive CDs or, you know, defensive healing CDs, cooldowns are all healing based. Sometimes if you're playing a Resto Druid or a Holy Paladin or a Resto Shaman and you use something like Earthen Wall, that big dirt totem that you see, or Iron Bark or Blessing of Sacrifice, if you use that CD at the wrong time, you are going to fall behind because you need to pair those CDs. I have a lot of videos on like this, you know, talking about this on my channel, but you need to pair your Iron Bark with important CDs or your Earthen Wall with important CDs. Sometimes not just based on damage, right? So when you're looking at the Mistweaver Monk, the only defensive cooldown that I would say, I mean, you really can't mess this up, is Life Cocoon, because Life Cocoon, if you're spec'd into Burst of Life, which almost everybody is, you spec into one Burst of Life and you spec into one Chrysalis. This makes your Cocoon a 55-second cooldown. Now, if you are interested in playing the Mistweaver Monk and I'm losing you here, go check my channel for guides. It'll talk, you know, I'll walk you through all of these Azerite traits, talents, and stats and everything like that. So we're not going to talk about that today. But based on the class itself, in terms of your cooldown usage, you don't have too many spells that you can kind of mess up, right? Everything is healing based. There's no damage reduction that you can put on your allies, like a wall, an Iron Bark, an Earthen Wall totem, a Blessing of Sacrifice. None of those things are present on the Mistweaver Monk, and that's why I think it's an easy healer. It's all healing based. It's really easy to get those heals out because you don't have to cast anything. You just use things, you just heal through Soothing Mist. And after you play the class for a little bit, it's really easy to fake cast people. Another reason that I think people that are beginners would like to pick up the Mistweaver Monk is just the mobility, right? Having high mobility allows you to get out of shitty situations where your positioning might be bad as a player because you're new to the game, but when you have high mobility, you're able to get out of those positions or situations that you shouldn't be in the fucking first place. So I really recommend Mistweaver to beginners because of just the simplicity of the class in terms of your healing rotation. Although it seems a little complex, it's really not compared to a lot of the other healers, and I have a ton of guides on this class, so I do recommend it for those reasons and the mobility. And the healing output also is very solid, right? The healing output for this class is relatively pretty strong. I mean, some healers are healing for more, but other healers don't have like the mobility that you might have, probably except Resto Druid maybe, and a lot of other healers don't have that instant CC like you have, probably except Resto Druids. However, Resto Druids are much more complicated, and I personally think their playstyle is super boring, but that's just my opinion, right? So you know, that's not really something that you should take into account when picking the Resto Druid or not if I say it's boring. And it's very comparable to the Resto Druid, and I think with Resto Druid nerfs, as of recent, they're still pretty, Mistweaver's decent, right? There are some comps, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Another reason why I think you can pick up the Mistweaver is it's not super gear dependent. While your stats do matter, there's a ton of builds for the Mistweaver, right? People have high mastery builds, people have high versatility builds, so your stats can kind of fluctuate, and an even spread of all of your stats are pretty solid. This is my alt Mistweaver Monk, believe it or not. And even with this eye level, which is pretty low at this point in the game, it's not the highest eye level you're going to see. My Paladin has much better gear. Even with this eye level, it's relatively easy to heal 3v3 arena, and 2v2 is a little bit more, you know, we'll talk about that a bit later. But for 3v3, having your Cocoon on such a short CD and having it being such a powerful cooldown in 3v3, that alone can carry the class with low eye level. While you can die because you have a low HP and you can die in a swap as a Mistweaver, having Cocoon itself makes it so that the class is not so gear dependent, and your stats can vary depending on the build that you're playing. So I really recommend Mistweaver for people that don't have any healers that are geared, and you're wondering what to play, and you have a monk at 120, and you're considering picking up a healer. It might be good for that reason. Now, the final reason I would personally recommend the Mistweaver monk for some players is if you like swapping between specs. I would say that out of all of the healers, Mistweaver has the strongest off-spec for Arena, and that being Windwalker Monk. I mean, priests have, Shadow Priests, Resto Druids have Moonkin and Feral. They're okay. Paladins have Retribution. They're okay. And Mistweaver having Windwalker Monk. Resto Shaman has Ellie and Enhance. I mean, that's a joke. So when you're looking at the strength of the off spec of the Mistweaver, and you're somebody that likes to swap specs often and you want to play DPS as well, it's a no-brainer if that's the case, because Mistweaver is okay at healing right now. It's a simple class, and Windwalker just absolutely bangs. So if you're somebody that wants to play DPS and healer, I cannot recommend the Mistweaver enough if that is the case. Okay, so with that being said, we talked about all the shenanigans, and I'm selling you on why you should play the monk. But honestly, like I've talked about in some other videos, if you're looking to, you already have been healing for a while and you want to know what healer to pick up, here are reasons why I cannot recommend the Mistweaver, okay? Number one, you run out of mana really fast if you don't understand the class well. I mean, you can very, very fast, especially in 2v2s. That is where it really frustrates me even as a player. In 2v2s, if you even want to have any fun and you want to play something like Wave the Crane, or you're expecting the Conflict and Strife, you're just going to so much faster than the other healers, because compared to Resto Druids, you're not able to just like go in stealth and go sit behind a pillar and start drinking, right? You have to actually get over there, and while you do have amazing mobility to get some distance and start drinking, you don't have the luxury of being a Druid and just going into stealth and making it so it's hard for them to find you or get you out of stealth. And you're not a Holy Paladin who in 2v2s relatively just doesn't Another thing is a lot of classes in 2v2s easily dumpster you. So if 2v2s is your thing, and that's usually the thing for a lot of people who are picking up healing because they want to get comfortable with the game, 2v2s, Mistweavers get dumpstered by so many classes. While a lot of healers have trouble with Death Knights, right? Death Knights poop on everybody. Rogues poop on a lot of healers. Even as a Paladin, Rogues are kind of difficult depending on the healer that they're playing with. But like even Demon Hunters are really annoying for you as a Mistweaver. It can be very difficult, and you start spending mana exponentially faster than a lot of other healers do, and for that reason it is frustrating. Another reason why I'm having trouble recommending the Mistweaver for some players that are going into 8.2 and they want to start doing Arena, Wave the Crane got a stealth nerf recently, and for me, it's still a decent talent if you're playing Conflict and Strife, the Azurite, the Essence here. I don't have it on this character, I have it on my other monk. But Conflict and Strife just basically gives you Wave the Crane for free. And this is a great essence because it doubles your versatility while you're caught in a stun. And that's great because your versatility is usually one of your main stats. And usually as a monk, you die in stuns. But it gives you Wave the Crane for free. But Wave the Crane being nerfed, stealth nerfed, they just basically lower the healing output that it provides based on the tooltip without really saying anything. But it's very apparent and noticeable. It heals for not that much. I mean, Holy Paladin Wings heals for a ton, and on top of that, what's very frustrating about this is that Wave the Crane costs 25,000 mana, whereas Holy Paladin, Avenging Crusader, or their melee wings only cost 10,000, and I have to use my Mana Tea. Again, this is all going to be in a guide for you guys, a car's driving by, a guide for you guys on my channel if you want to pick up this class. You have to activate Mana Tea before you press Crane, otherwise you're going to and Mana Tea cuts the cost of Wave the Crane in half, so it's 12,500 mana. That's still more than melee wings, and it probably does less damage, I would say, unless you build it up correctly, than melee wings, and it heals for less. So it's absolutely just ridiculous that is a change. If this change wasn't in place, then I would say Mistweaver is probably still pretty it's going to be up there with a lot of the other healers, but I still think it's maybe my top 3 healer. For me personally, I think it's still a top 3 healer, falling behind Paladin and Druid. So in 2v2s, you're not the most powerful healer, but if you do play it right, like for me, I know I can do really well on this class in 2s. If if I play with my boy Savix, we play Rep Mistweaver. If I'm being very disruptive, if we're gunning down a healer and I'm trying to zerg down this healer, zug, fucking choo-choo train on this dude, and I'm using things like Ring of Peace, that was probably a little cringy, in cab, leg sweep, and I'm stopping heals with just that. So if a paladin uses Divine Favor and he tries to go for a heal and I Ring of Peace it, that's really huge for my team. If I in-cap a shaman on his Aura Mastery, or if I Ring of Peace when I know a Resto Druid's going to go to use his Wild Charge Leap in his travel form, and I can rob him back from getting too far away, or I in-cap certain things at the right time, like I in-cap a Divine Steed from the Holy Paladin, I believe that's what it's called, and I stop him from getting too far away. You can be very disruptive, and that's super fun, but you have to have a good pairing. And again, if you play with like a Death Knight, you're going to do fine in 2s. If you play with like a Rep Paladin, I think it's pretty strong. Now, when it comes to 3s and even 2s, another thing about Mistweaver that Resto Druid shares the same thing is that you die easily in swaps, and that's why I really like this essence once again. It's called Conflict and Strife. Conflict and Strife, once again, doubles your verse when getting caught in a stun. I know a lot of people are playing these like cheeky healing ones. I know like Vitality Conduit. I know some people are playing Life Binder's Evocation. That's cool and all, but getting Crane for free, number one, is pretty sweet in my opinion. I think just getting double verse caught on stuns versus like a rogue mage, if you're fighting any rogue mage in 3v3s or 2v2s, I cannot recommend Conflict and Strife enough on the monk. But with that being said, you're still susceptible to dying in fucking stuns, okay? You will die in a stun like that if your team is not there to support you, similar to a Resto Druid. However, Resto Druid dies in a stun because they're not in their bear form, or they're in a bad spot. You just die all the time if you're in a bad spot as a Mistweaver monk, right? You can pre-wall goes, you can use your Fortifying Brew, and you can still die, and that's very frustrating. And the problem with dying in stuns is right now we're in a rogue mage meta, and Mistweaver sucks ass in rogue mage meta, okay? Mistweaver is so bad into rogue mage, it's frustrating, okay? It's just so, it's even though you have like decent mobility, and even though you have Cocoon on a short CD, which is the only reason why you're even any decent into Rogue Mage, and you have a port to kind of line of sight, if it's so easy for RM Pal, a Fire Mage, Assassination Rogue, Holy Paladin, just to absolutely dumpster you in 3v3s. It's so frustrating to deal with. I mean, you can die so quickly, and just because of that sole reason alone, it's so hard for me to recommend the Mistweaver to players that are trying to push high rating. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do it. Like, I hate when people like come up with these assumptions. Well, I'm not playing Mistweaver because it sucks. Dude, a lot of people get high rating as a Mistweaver playing TSG. So let's talk about comps. Even though, let's say you want to play Mistweaver, let's say you're comfortable on the Mistweaver, let's say, oh, Stoops, I'm disappointed you're saying Mistweaver's not that good into the Rogue Mage meta, and that means they're not very good. In my opinion, they're still the top 3 healer. They're just not as strong as Holy Paladin or Resto Druid. And with that, on top of that, they're weakened to Rogue Mage, but you still have very strong ladder comps, TSG, that being Arms Warrior and Holy Death Knight Mistweaver. Now, a lot of people might want to pick up a Druid, but Mistweaver does really well, or is a good addition to Cleave comps just because of Life Cocoon, and because melee teams are often overextending, and they're often just blowing CDs, trying to zerg people down. I mean, these are the new TSGs, but having a Cocoon is so nice. A lot of melee cleaves like playing with Mistweavers because of that reason. Resto Druid, you can bark Overgrowth, but it might not be enough. It's not an instant lifesaver like Blessing of Sacrifice. However, Cocoon is on a shorter CD than Blessing of Sacrifice. So TSG is a strong comp for Mistweavers. Windwalker DK is a strong comp for Mistweavers. You can also play double caster comps like Destro SP, or like some cheesy double Fire Mage thing if you wanted to, or Ellie Destro, or anything like that could be fine with a Mistweaver monk. But just because the other classes, in my opinion, right now are a lot more powerful, and because of the recent wave of the Crane nerf, it's hard for me to recommend Mistweaver when compared to the Holy Paladin or Druid. But to sum up this video, if you are once again new to healing, the Mistweaver might be one of the best picks for you, especially if you want to play DPS as well at the same time, because Windwalker monks just own. Anyway, I know this video was kind of all over the place in terms of tons of information, but I hope it was helpful for some of you guys. It was more like a conversation and me talking to you about why you shouldn't play the Mistweaver. I will be doing this for several other healers and other classes that I think should be discussed on my channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up on the video. And if you have any more questions, you can let me know in the comment section below and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. If you guys are looking for more healer or PvP or any type of arena content on YouTube, be sure to subscribe for future videos. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next time.